Okay, let's dive in. You really can't avoid generative AI talk these days, can you?
No, it's everywhere. Business, tech, just daily life. It feels like it's gone from, a niche thing to being truly ubiquitous.
And it's clearly starting to change how we work, how we create stuff, how we interact.
Yeah, it's definitely more than just crunching numbers now. This wave of AI is about creation.
Creation. How so?
Well, like taking complex reports and boiling them down, holding conversations that actually feel pretty intelligent,
Uh-huh.
generating new images or code from scratch, and even, tackling complex problems step by step. That chain of thought reasoning people mention.
Right, that creative reasoning part feels
Mm.
different. So for this deep dive, we've gathered a whole stack of sources, articles, reports, analyses,
Mm-hmm.
all focused on where Gen AI is actually making an impact right now.
Hmm.
We're looking at big areas like manufacturing, finance, healthcare.
Customer service, creative stuff too.
Exactly. So think of us as guiding you through all this material.
Yeah, our mission is basically to pull out the key insights, the surprising bits, the real-world examples from these sources.
Kind of a shortcut, so you can get up to speed on what the experts are actually saying about
Yep.
where Gen AI is being used and what its effects are.
Right. Let's start with the basics, though. What is generative AI, fundamentally?
Good question.
Well, simply put, it's the branch of AI that's focused on creating new stuff, new content, new data.
Okay.
It takes instructions, prompts from humans or other inputs, and generates something novel, something contextually appropriate.
And how's that different from, say, the AI we've had for a while, like recommendation engines?
Good point. Traditional AI, a lot of it is about analyzing existing data, finding patterns, making predictions, classifying things like those recommendation engines or detecting fraud based on past patterns.
Okay, analyzing what's already there.
Exactly. Gen AI, though, it doesn't just analyze, it synthesizes, it produces.
How does it do that?
It learns the underlying patterns from massive, massive training data sets. You hear about large language models, LLMs.
Uh-huh. Billions of
Yeah,
parameters.
right. Trained on unbelievable amounts of text or images. Then it uses that learned knowledge to generate new examples, things like JANs or VAEs or some of the algorithms behind it. But basically, it learns how things are structured, then makes new ones.
And the big shift now, it seems, is just how accessible it's become.
Hmm.
Tools like ChatGPT, DLE, Gemini.
Precisely. Suddenly, this really powerful generative ability is, at our fingertips. Anyone with an internet connection can try it out.
And that's really fueled the fire, hasn't it? Pushed the experimentation and the real-world uses forward so fast.
Dramatically, yeah.
Okay, so let's zoom in on some of those real-world uses. Starting with manufacturing, that's a sector always pushing for, efficiency, lower cost, better quality.
While juggling market changes, supply chain headaches, all that complexity.
Yeah. So how does Gen AI fit in there?
Well, it offers some really compelling tools for those exact challenges. We're seeing it used to analyze just vast amounts of diverse data, in real time to get operational insights. It can evaluate potential product designs super quickly, help cut supply chain costs, even act as a sort of co-pilot for workers on the floor or for customer service reps.
The analysts seem pretty bullish on this. They're talking about serious competitive advantages for manufacturers who adopt it.
Absolutely. Sources like McKinsey, for instance, they reckon that areas like customer operations, marketing, software engineering, R&D, those could capture something like 75% of the total annual value Gen AI might generate across all industries.
Wow, 75% just in those areas.
Yeah. And manufacturers seem to be listening. An IDC survey found, 27% are already actively investing in Gen AI.
And Gartner's outlook mentioned boosting customer experience and revenue growth, too.
Yeah.
So how are companies actually using it, like on the factory floor?
You can kind of categorize the uses. There's conversational AI for talking with customers, suppliers, even internal teams.
Right.
Then referential AI helping make sense of mountains of documents, manuals, that sort of thing.
Right.
And then creative AI actually generating new stuff, like design options, code for software, or technical documentation.
Okay, let's get into specifics. The sources had some really cool examples. Product design, for instance.
Oh, this is fascinating. Gen AI can seriously speed up design and maybe more importantly, boost creativity.
How?
Instead of just relying on human designers doing iteration after iteration, GenAI can generate loads of design options based on specific parameters you give it.
Like what kind of parameters?
Things like optimizing for recyclability or specific material costs or aerodynamic properties. Toyota Research Institute had a great example.
Oh, yeah.
They're integrating engineering constraints like aerodynamic drag limits or chassis dimensions directly into text-to-image tools. So the AI generates car designs that aren't just cool looking, but actually feasible from an engineering standpoint right from the start.
That sounds like a massive shortcut for engineers.
Yeah.
Almost like a superpower. What about keeping the machines running? Predictive maintenance.
Another huge area. Gen AI can learn the normal operating signature of complex machinery by analyzing sensor data, maintenance logs, everything.
So it knows what good looks like.
Exactly. And then it can spot tiny deviations, a slight change in vibration, a minuscule temperature shift, things a human might miss. It predicts failures before they happen.
Which means more targeted maintenance, less downtime.
Precisely. Cost-effective, too. Siemens' Sensei solution, for example, they recently added conversational features, so technicians can literally ask the system questions, and it draws on knowledge from similar machines to help troubleshoot.
That's clever, making the insights easier to access. And quality control, making sure products are perfect.
Yeah, QC is getting revolutionized, especially visual inspection. Gen AI can analyze tons of images, perfect products versus defective ones, and learn really subtle details.
Better than the human eye sometimes.
Often, yeah. It can spot tiny flaws in real time on the production line. Bosch had this interesting problem.
Oh, yeah.
Their quality was actually too high. They barely had any pictures of defective products to train their AI model.
Oh, a good problem to have, I guess.
Right. So they use Gen AI to create over 15,000 artificial images of errors based on the few examples they did have.
Yeah.
They basically manufactured the training data they needed.
That's brilliant. Using the AI to solve the data problem caused by, well, by being too good. What about the people working there? Training.
Workforce training is another area seeing big changes. Gen AI can create really personalized training modules.
Personalized how?
Based on an employee's specific performance, their experience level, identified skill gaps. It can act like an interactive chatbot mentor, answering questions on the spot.
Wow.
And it can generate dynamic work instructions, maybe shown on smart glasses or a tablet, guiding someone step by step through a complex assembly in real time, adapting as they go. Lozio, they make retail store fixtures. They built a Gen AI-powered search for their intranet. It crawls all their internal stuff, documents, wikis, databases, and gives conversational answers to employee questions. Makes finding info so much easier.
That must save an incredible amount of time just hunting for information. And the whole supply chain? Managing materials, goods?
Oh yeah, supply chain management is just ripe for Gen AI optimization. It helps manage risk by analyzing external factors, weather, geopolitics, you name it.
What?
It predicts demand more accurately using more diverse data, optimizes inventory based on seasonality, potential disruptions, fine-tunes transport routes using real-time traffic, weather,
Making the whole chain smarter, more resilient.
and more communicative. Microsoft's Dynamics 365 Copilot, integrated into supply chain tools, can proactively spot potential issues like a storm impacting deliveries and even auto-draft emails to let partners know.
So it's not just analyzing, it's acting on the analysis.
Mhm.
What other manufacturer uses jumped out from the sources?
Product servicing was a big one. Maintenance advice. Gen AI digests all the manuals, logs, service histories,
Right.
so technicians can get quick, accurate diagnoses through chat or voice. There is an example of a major elevator company doing this, feeding thousands of pages into a conversational system for their field techs.
That's troubleshooting time way down, I bet.
Exactly. And related to that, smart OT support operational technology, the factory control systems. Gen AI help desks can make sense of historical data and complex manuals to help IT or maintenance fix tricky OT problems faster.
We hear a lot about digital twins, too. How does Gen AI fit there?
It's making them more powerful. Gen AI can help create more realistic virtual replicas of physical systems or processes.
Right.
It can run more complex simulations for things like predictive maintenance or finding bottlenecks. It's moving beyond just static models to dynamic predictive twins using live data.
And the business side. Procurement, contracts.
Smart supplier contract management. Using Gen AI to automate compliance checks, generate contract templates, flag important clauses or deadlines. Companies like Ironclad, Evisort are in this space.
Makes sense.
And for procurement, making better buying decisions. GenAI processes market data, supplier ratings, benchmarks costs, helps identify suppliers.
Yeah.
Globality Inc. even has a chatbot called Glow for this.
Okay. And looping back to customer interaction.
Right. Marketing and sales, better customer targeting, tailoring messages, optimizing recommendations, even generating realistic autonomous customer service calls with tools like AIR.
Autonomous calls. That's slightly unnerving, but I see the efficiency.
It's pushing boundaries. And then transforming customer operations generally, especially after sales support. Human-like chatbots, trained on manuals, providing real-time multilingual support for complex issues, keeping the brand voice consistent.
And just dealing with all the paperwork.
Huge. Document creation, search, synthesis. Generating logistics docs like bills of lading, invoices automatically. Letting users just chat with complex documents to find info or get summaries. Microsoft's Document Gen AI is focused here.
That's a staggering range of applications just in manufacturing. So why does this matter to you, the listener?
Well, because manufacturers using these tools are likely getting more efficient. They might produce higher quality stuff, potentially at lower cost. They could offer better, faster service.
So it impacts the products you buy, the prices, the support you get.
Exactly. Availability, quality, cost, service. It touches all of that.
It sounds incredibly powerful, but obviously it's not simple. What are the big hurdles or considerations?
Data privacy is huge. Using depersonalized data is key, especially with operational or employee info.
Right.
Then there's fairness, avoiding algorithmic bias. That's critical. And navigating all the ethical questions around deployment.
And the workforce impact. Jobs.
It definitely changes roles. New jobs needing different skills emerge, so training and upskilling are vital. It's often about augmenting human workers, not just replacing them, which underscores the need for human judgment. GenAI is a tool. Human expertise, domain knowledge, critical thinking, those remain essential. You can't just blindly trust the AI, especially for crucial decisions. Over-reliance is a real risk.
How are companies typically getting started with this? What's the approach?
It seems to be a phased process based on the sources. First, explore concepts, identify potential uses. Then, plan, assess readiness, data needs, costs versus benefits.
Makes sense.
Then, pilot a few high-impact use cases. If those work, scale them across the organization. And finally, keep innovating as the tech evolves.
And choosing the right partners is important.
Absolutely critical. The sources stress that. Partners who understand the specific business challenges, not just the AI tech itself.
Okay, let's shift focus. Away from the factory, more towards how companies interact with us, the customers. Customer service seems like a really visible, maybe one of the most popular applications of GenAI right now across all sorts of industries.
It really is. It's proving to be one of the areas with the most immediate traction and noticeable impact.
And we're talking about moving beyond those, frankly, often frustrating chatbots we used to encounter.
Definitely. The shift is from rigid, rules-based bots that hit a wall if you don't phrase things perfectly,
Those dead ends.
to bots that understand natural language much better. They can handle complex, multi-part questions with more nuance, manage huge volumes, and even personalize responses based on your past interactions. A Gen AI bot can grasp your intent even if you word things differently.
Are there examples where this is really working well, making a big difference?
Yeah, some quite compelling ones. Octopus Energy in the UK uses conversational AI for customer inquiries.
Okay.
Reports suggest it handles the workload equivalent of around 250 human agents. But here's the kicker.
What's that?
The customer satisfaction ratings for interactions handled by this AI are reportedly higher than for those handled by their human agents for those specific query types.
Higher satisfaction than with humans. Wow. What do you think is behind that?
Well, it could be consistency, speed, instant access to all relevant information, things AI excels at for routine tasks. Maybe for certain types of queries, that speed and accuracy just feels better to the customer than, say, waiting on hold or getting slightly different answers.
That's really interesting. It points to where AI might actually provide a better experience for specific things. What about in finance?
John Hancock used conversational AI during busy periods like the pandemic to handle common questions. It took a significant load off their human agents, freeing them up for more complex, sensitive issues. It also helped their teams get used to working alongside AI tools.
So managing volume, letting humans focus where they're most needed. What else can Gen AI do in customer service beyond that initial chat?
It can offer really personalized recommendations, products, services based on your history. It enables conversational search for things like FAQs, you can just ask, where's my package, naturally. And it gets the context, finds the answer, maybe even translates it.
And helping the human agents themselves.
Critically important, yes. It acts like a co-pilot for them. It can draft potential responses, summarize long interaction histories instantly, suggest relevant articles or solutions during a call.
So the human agent isn't replaced, but augmented.
Exactly. They can handle more complex issues, focus more on empathy and problem solving, less on routine information retrieval.
So for you, the customer, the promise is faster, more accurate, maybe more personalized support, 24/7 potentially, and quicker problem resolution.
That's definitely the goal, yeah.
Okay, moving into financial services. The sources use some strong language here. GenAI isn't just an upgrade, it's a linchpin of transformative change, even a change in basic assumptions for banking.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty fundamental.
It does. It signals a shift beyond AI that just processes information to AI, that actively creates things like drafting reports, coding algorithms, simulating market outcomes. That creative aspect is driving new kinds of innovation and efficiency.
And the big players are investing heavily.
Oh, yeah. Especially in North America, major banks are really pioneering this, pouring money into advanced fraud detection, sophisticated chatbots, buying the heavy-duty computing power needed, and focusing on use cases with the biggest potential payoff.
How is this helping them compete, with fintechs and changing customer expectations?
It's key. Customers expect faster, smoother, more integrated digital services now. GenAI gives traditional banks powerful tools to meet those expectations, personalize offerings, and stay competitive against nimbler rivals.
Is it hitting all parts of the bank?
Pretty much across the board. Consumer banking sees better service. Investment banking gets help with complex research and modeling. Corporate banking uses it for lending and risk management. Capital markets see benefits in trading, compliance, risk analysis.
What about specific functions like back office stuff?
Definitely. Automating parts of tax prep is one area. In legal departments, it's speeding up document review massively, helping with contract analysis and negotiation. And fraud detection, as we mentioned, gets a huge boost.
Are there tangible results? Numbers showing the benefits?
The sources certainly suggest so. Big gains in efficiency and cost savings from automating loan processing, fraud checks, customer service tasks. JPMC, for example, claims significant fraud reduction and fewer payment rejections using GenAI for validation, saving real money. Other studies mention millions saved in operational costs, particularly in areas like wealth management through automation.
Those are significant savings.
Beyond cost, improved risk management. GenAI can analyze way more data points to assess creditworthiness, potentially leading to fewer defaults, better margins. An EY report highlighted cost savings from better fraud detection and credit assessments. And then there's revenue generation, personalizing products and services better. Bank of America, for instance, uses AI to suggest tailored investment strategies, aiming to boost engagement and ultimately revenue.
And this isn't just limited to traditional banking, right? It extends to wealth management, insurance.
Absolutely. Wealth management gets personalized advice and risk tools. Insurance sees more efficient claims processing and risk assessment that EY report mentioned, working with a Nordic insurer to automate claims document handling. And it's all over the payments world, too.
Now, cybersecurity is obviously paramount in finance.
Yeah.
How does GenAI play there? It sounds like it could be risky.
It's definitely a double-edged sword. GenAI creates new potential vulnerabilities. It expands the attack surface. And sometimes the AI's decision-making can be complex, hard to explain the black box problem.
But it can also help defend.
Massively. It enables much more advanced threat detection, sifting through enormous security logs in real time. It can automate parts of incident response, making reactions faster. And it helps security systems learn and adapt to new threats constantly.
So institutions need to build security into the AI from the start.
Security by design, exactly. It's crucial. But there are other challenges too, navigating complex regulations, ensuring accuracy, mitigating bias in financial algorithms.
Right. Bias is a big concern.
Overcoming internal resistance to change, and just balancing the high costs of implementation with the expected ROI. Robust governance, transparency, and keeping humans in the loop for oversight are absolutely essential.
How are banks trying to future-proof their AI efforts?
Scalability is key, making sure solutions can grow. Integrating with older legacy systems is often a huge technical challenge. Finding and developing talent with the right mix of finance and AI skills is vital. And there's a constant need to update models and ensure decisions remain explainable.
We saw examples like EY's big investment in their EY.ai platform, showing that commitment.
Exactly. It shows the scale of resources being dedicated to harnessing AI responsibly in this sector.
So, for you listening, this push in finance could mean faster loans, better advice, stronger fraud protection, maybe even lower costs eventually.
Yeah.
But it also brings up those important questions about data privacy and algorithmic fairness.
Yeah, big potential, but also big responsibilities.
Okay, let's turn to healthcare. The sources here use some incredibly strong language, framing GenAI as a transformative wave
Yeah.
with potentially bigger impact than electricity or the internet. That's a massive claim.
It is, and it reflects the sheer potential people see. There's some early data backing it up, too. A New England Journal of Medicine study showed Gen AI improving patient outcomes up to 45% in some chronic disease trials, mainly through more personalized care plans.
45% improvement. That's huge in healthcare.
It really is. And McKinsey estimated Gen AI could cut U.S. healthcare costs by up to $150 billion a year by 2026, mostly through admin automation and workflow improvements. Plus, you see billions in VC funding pouring in the health AI startups.
How does it tie into the core mission of healthcare, like the quadruple or quintuple aim?
It's seen as vital for hitting those goals: better care quality, provider satisfaction, patient engagement, lower costs, improved population health. Gen AI tools are being developed to target pretty much all of those aims.
And the need for AI seems especially strong given the information overload in medicine.
Totally. The sources highlight the insane volume of medical research. It would take one doctor decades just to read 1 year's worth of new papers. The explicit point was made that we've long surpassed the power of the human brain to keep up. AI augmentation isn't just helpful, it's becoming necessary.
So its role is expanding way beyond just efficiency gains.
Oh, definitely. It's enabling truly personalized treatments by synthesizing complex genetic data, lifestyle factors, medical history. It can power 247 virtual health assistants for patients. Some predict AI will handle over 85% of routine customer interactions in healthcare by 2025.
How does this impact doctors and nurses on the front lines?
It points towards more tech-dependent care teams with AI as a partner. The idea is to offload routine tasks, information retrieval, documentation.
Right, the burnout factors.
So clinicians can focus more energy on the uniquely human parts: complex diagnosis, empathy, shared decision-making. Their skills are augmented, not replaced. But roles and workflows will definitely need to evolve.
Let's look at some specific companies and applications mentioned.
Okay. EcoHealth uses AI with stethoscopes for cardiac monitoring. It analyzes heart sounds, ECG data, improves detection of conditions like heart failure. They got the first FDA nod for AI using stethoscopes for that, and reportedly cut undiagnosed issues by 30%.
Making the stethoscope smarter.
Pretty much.
Right.
Butterfly Network has that portable AI-powered ultrasound. It makes point-of-care ultrasound faster, more accurate, more accessible, potentially avoiding costly scans, democratizing imaging, essentially.
And tackling that huge administrative burden? Documentation.
Yes, that's a major focus for clinician well-being. Companies like Abridge and Nuance use conversational AI. It listens during patient visits and automatically transcribes and structures the conversation into clinical notes. They claim it can save clinicians over 70 hours a month on documentation. And these integrate into major EHR systems like Epic.
70 hours back a month. That's game-changing for a doctor.
It could be. Then there's Hippocratic AI, building a staffing marketplace using Gen AI agents for low-risk tasks, appointment reminders, post-discharge follow-up questions, aiming to ease the staffing crisis.
Using AI for those routine interactions.
Right. And Glass Health integrates data from various sources for a holistic patient view, using AI for care planning and decision support right when the doctor needs it.
So, tons of potential, lots of investment. But one source, CHIME, offered a reality check on where things stand now in U.S. health systems.
Yeah, that was important context. They basically said, despite the buzz and money, Gen AI hasn't yet fundamentally transformed most U.S. health systems. Many are still just experimenting, maybe getting small wins on the periphery, not really changing core operations.
Why the gap between the hype and the current reality on the ground?
Several big barriers. Outdated IT infrastructure is one. Lack of comprehensive cloud strategies needed for scalable AI. Fragmented workflows make integration really hard. Healthcare is also inherently cautious due to safety and regulation, and these AI solutions are technically complex, expensive, and need deep collaboration between IT, clinicians, administration. It's just hard.
And the market itself sounds tricky to navigate.
It's very crowded. Startups face tough regulatory paths and compete against the tech giants, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, who are all pushing into health AI. The established health IT vendors, like EHR companies, tend to integrate AI more cautiously, often limited by their existing systems. It leaves gaps but also makes widespread adoption slow.
So that big transformation is still maybe a few years out.
The sources suggest the real pivotal shift, the AI-powered clinician era, is more likely from 2025 onwards. That's when the main bottleneck might shift from the tech itself to getting clinicians and staff comfortable and skilled in using these new AI partners effectively.
What are the absolute must-address challenges for healthcare as AI integrates more deeply?
Data privacy, obviously, with sensitive health records, huge. Developing strong ethical frameworks to prevent bias in AI tools used for diagnosis or treatment recommendations, that's critical.
Can't have bias creeping into care decisions.
No. And crucially, maintaining the human touch, the empathy in medicine. Professional groups like the AAPA are already working on guidelines and lobbying for legislation to safeguard patients and the profession.
So for you, the listener, the potential here is immense. Earlier diagnosis, personalized treatments, better info access, maybe lower costs, but it comes with serious questions about your data security and how AI influences your actual medical care.
High stakes, absolutely. High potential, high stakes.
Okay, let's touch briefly on the creative industries. Very different from healthcare or manufacturing, but GenAI is making big waves there too.
Absolutely. The market specifically for GenAI in creative fields is growing fast, projected over $1 billion globally by 2032.
How's it changing things for creators, artists, writers, designers?
It's streamlining a lot of processes, automating routine tasks in content creation, design, even personalizing customer experiences related to creative work. It boosts productivity, potentially freeing up creatives for more conceptual thinking.
And the creative output itself.
It's enabling new kinds of personalized content, tailoring stories, articles, social media to individual users, making experiences more immersive.
Even customer interaction in creative fields.
Yeah, things like AI helping you find the perfect stock photo or font, or guiding you through complex software, improving satisfaction that way.
What are some concrete examples?
Visual arts is obvious, with AI like Jan's creating novel images, music generation AI composing original pieces or mimicking styles. Text to image is huge for concept art in games and film.
Right, generating visuals from descriptions.
And in film and TV, it's assisting with script writing, dialogue generation, character development, even customizing content snippets for different viewers.
And the startup scene is very active here.
Definitely. You see companies like Jasper for writing, Runway for video, Descript for audio-video editing, Character.ai or In-World AI for creating interactive virtual characters. Lots of activity.
So the outlook is continued growth, increasing strategic importance for creative work.
That's the takeaway. It's fundamentally changing how creative work gets done, pushing boundaries.
And for you listening, this matters because you're probably already interacting with AI-generated or AI-assisted creative content, art, music, maybe parts of movies, or personalized web experiences. It raises fascinating questions about, authorship, originality, the future of human creativity itself.
Yeah, where does the human creator end and the AI tool begin? It's getting blurry.
Okay, so bringing this all together, we've looked at manufacturing, finance, healthcare, customer service, creative work. It's clear that Gen AI's core abilities, generating, summarizing, conversing, reasoning, are driving really significant changes across vastly different sectors.
And you see those common threads, don't you? Enhanced efficiency, big cost reductions, better customer or user experiences through personalization, and this fundamental shift in the workforce toward augmenting human skills. These themes connect the factory, the bank, the hospital, the design studio.
And while the investment and experimentation are happening incredibly fast, it's important to remember, as that healthcare source pointed out, we're still pretty early in the widespread systemic transformation phase for many industries.
Right. That phased approach, explore, plan, pilot, scale, seems common. The potential is clear, there are successful examples, but embedding it deeply across entire sectors takes time and involves overcoming real hurdles.
And those hurdles also cut across industries.
Right.
Data privacy, fairness, bias, the absolute need for human oversight and judgment, navigating regulations, adapting the workforce.
These aren't just minor issues. They require careful thought, strategic planning, ethical consideration at every step.
So what does all this mean for your world, for you listening? Whether you work in one of these areas, use services from these industries, or just live in a world increasingly influenced by AI, these changes will have real effects on productivity, on jobs, on the services you get, on daily life.
The ripple effects are already here, and they're only going to grow.
Generative AI clearly has the power to fundamentally reshape how industries work. It opens up some exciting possibilities. Smarter factories, truly personalized banking, potentially life-saving advances in healthcare, new forms of art and entertainment.
But as we've discussed throughout, it's not just about the tech's raw power, it's about implementing it responsibly, tackling those complex challenges head on, and making sure human knowledge, human judgment, human empathy remains central.
So maybe a final thought to leave you with. As GenAI keeps generating new possibilities across all these fields, what parts of your own life or your work might be next in line for a reshape? And perhaps more importantly, how can you participate in ensuring the future being built is one you actually want?
Definitely something to think about as this all continues to unfold.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.